Welcome to Bible in a Year with Scott Purcell. I'm so glad you're joining me. This is a daily reading of portions of the Bible, following a plan that will include the entire Bible in a year. And now, let's open the book and begin our readings. This is the reading for day 48. If your reading is aligned with the calendar year, this is for February 17. The Old Testament reading is from Exodus 21 and Exodus 22. Exodus 21. And these are the regulations that you will set before them. If you buy a Hebrew slave, he will serve 6 years, and in the 7th he will go out as free for nothing. If he comes in single, he will go out single. If he is the husband of a wife, his wife will go out with him. If his master gives him a wife, and she bears for him sons or daughters, the wife and her children will belong to her master, and the slave will go out single. But if the slave explicitly says, "I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free," his master will present him to God, and bring him to the door or to the doorpost, and his master will pierce his ear with an awl, and he will serve him forever. And if a man sells his daughter as a slave woman, she will not go out as male slaves go out. If she does not please her master who selected her, he will allow her to be redeemed. He has no authority to sell her to foreign people, since he has dealt treacherously with her. And if he selects her for his son, he shall do for her according to the regulations for daughters. And if he takes for himself another, he will not reduce her food, her clothing, or her right of cohabitation. And if he does not do for her these 3, she shall go out for nothing. There will not be silver paid for her. Whoever strikes someone and he dies will surely be put to death. But if he does not lie in wait, and it was an accident, I will appoint for you a place to which he may flee. But if a man schemes against his neighbor to kill him by treachery, you will take him from my altar to die. And whoever strikes his father or his mother will surely be put to death. And whoever kidnaps someone and sells him, or he is found in his possession, he will surely be put to death. And one who curses his father or his mother will surely be put to death. And if men quarrel, and a man strikes his neighbor with a stone or with a fist, and he does not die, but he is confined to bed, if he stands and walks about in the outside on his staff, the striker will be unpunished. He will only pay for his inactivity toward his full recovery. And if a man strikes his male slave or his female slave with the rod, and he dies under his hand, he will surely be avenged. Yet, if he survives a day or 2 days, he will not be avenged, because he is his money. And if men fight, and they injure a pregnant woman, and her children go out, and there is not serious injury, he will surely be fined as the woman's husband demands concerning him, and as the judges determine. And if there is a serious injury, you will give life in place of life, eye in place of eye, tooth in place of tooth, hand in place of hand, foot in place of foot, burn in place of burn, wound in place of wound, bruise in place of bruise. And if a man strikes the eye of his male slave or the eye of his female slave and destroys it, he shall release him as free in place of the eye. And if he causes the tooth of his male slave or the tooth of his female slave to fall out, he will release him as free in place of his tooth. And if an ox gores a man or a woman and he dies, the ox will surely be stoned, and its meat will not be eaten, and the owner of the ox is innocent. But if it was a goring ox before, and its owner was warned and did not restrain it, and it kills a man or a woman, the ox will be stoned, and the owner also will be put to death. If a ransom is set on him, he will pay the redemption money for his life, according to all that is set on him. If it gores a son or it gores a daughter, according to this regulation, it shall be done to him. If the ox gores a male slave or a female slave, he will give 30 shekels of silver to his master, and the ox will be stoned. If a man opens a pit, or if a man digs a pit and does not cover it, and an ox or a donkey falls into it, the owner of the pit will pay restitution. He will pay silver to its owner, but the dead animal will be for him. And if a man's ox injures the ox of his neighbor and it dies, they will sell the living ox and divide the money, and they will also divide the dead one. Or if it was known that it was a goring ox before, and the owner did not restrain it, he will surely make restitution, an ox in place of the ox, and the dead one will be for him. Exodus 22. If a man steals an ox or small livestock and slaughters it or sells it, he will make restitution with 5 cattle in place of the ox, and with 4 sheep or goats in place of the small livestock. If a thief is found in the act of breaking in, and he is struck and he dies, there is not blood guilt for him. If the sun has risen over him, there is blood guilt for him. He will make full restitution. If he does not have enough, he will be sold for his theft. If indeed the stolen item is found in his possession, alive, from ox to donkey to small livestock, he will make double restitution. If a man grazes his livestock in a field or a vineyard, and he releases his livestock and it grazes in the field of another, he will make restitution from the best of his field and the best of his vineyard. If a fire is started and finds thorn bushes and a stack of sheaves, or the standing grain, or the field is consumed, the one who started the fire will surely make restitution. If a man gives to his neighbor money or objects to watch over, and it is stolen from the house of the man, if the thief is found, he will make double restitution. If the thief is not found, the owner of the house will be brought to the sanctuary to learn whether or not he reached out his hand to his neighbor's possession. Concerning every account of transgression, concerning an ox, concerning a donkey, concerning small livestock, concerning clothing, concerning all lost property, where someone says, "This belongs to me," the matter of the 2 of them will come to God. Whomever God declares guilty will make double restitution to his neighbor. If a man gives to his neighbor a donkey or an ox or small livestock or any beast to watch over, and it dies or is injured or is captured when there is no one who sees, the oath of Yahweh will be between the 2 of them concerning whether or not he has reached out his hand to his neighbor's possession, and its owner will accept this, and he will not make restitution. But if indeed it was stolen from him, he will make restitution to its owner. If indeed it was torn to pieces, he will bring it as evidence. The mangled carcass, he will not make restitution. If a man borrows from his neighbor, and it is injured or dies while its owner is not with it, he will make restitution. If its owner was with it, he will not make restitution. If it was hired, it came with its hiring fee. If a man seduces a virgin who is not engaged, and he lies with her, he surely will give her bride price to have her as his wife. If her father absolutely refuses to give her to him, he will weigh out money according to the bride price for the virgin. You will not let a witch live. Anyone lying with an animal will surely be put to death. Whoever sacrifices to the gods, not to Yahweh, to him alone, will be destroyed. You will not mistreat an alien, and you will not oppress him because you were aliens in the land of Egypt. You will not afflict any widow or orphan. If you indeed afflict him, yes, if he cries out at all to me, I will certainly hear his cry of distress. And I will become angry, and I will kill you with the sword, and your wives will be widows, and your children orphans. If you lend money to my people, to the needy with you, you will not be to him as a creditor. You will not charge him interest. If indeed you require the cloak of your neighbor as a pledge, you will return it to him at sundown, because it is his only garment. It is his cloak for his skin. In what will he sleep? And when he cries out to me, I will hear, because I am gracious. You will not curse God, and you will not curse a leader among your people. You will not delay the fullness of your harvest and the juice from your press. You will give me the firstborn of your sons. You will do likewise for your ox and for your sheep and goats. 7 days it will be with its mother. On the 8th you will give it to me. And you will be men of holiness for me. And you will not eat meat from a carcass mangled in the field. You will throw it to the dog. The New Testament reading is from Mark 2, beginning with verse 18 through the end of the chapter, and Mark 3, verses 1 through 30. Mark 2:18. And John's disciples and the Pharisees were fasting. And they came and said to him, Why do the disciples of John and the disciples of the Pharisees fast, but your disciples do not fast? And Jesus said to them, The bridegroom's attendants are not able to fast while the bridegroom is with them, are they? As long a time as they have the bridegroom with them, they are not able to fast. But days will come when the bridegroom is taken away from them, and then they will fast in that day. No one sews a patch of unshrunken cloth on an old garment. Otherwise the patch pulls away from it the new from the old, and the tear becomes worse. And no one puts new wine into old wineskins. Otherwise the wine will burst the wineskins, and the wine is destroyed, and the wineskins too. But new wine is put into new wineskins. And it happened that he was going through the grain fields on the Sabbath, and his disciples began to make their way while plucking off the heads of grain. And the Pharisees began to say to him, Behold, why are they doing what is not permitted on the Sabbath? And he said to them, Have you never read what David did when he had need, and he and those who were with him were hungry, how he entered into the house of God in the time of Abiathar the high priest and ate the bread of the presentation, which is not permitted to eat except the priest, and also gave it to those who were with him? And he said to them, The Sabbath was established for people, and not people for the Sabbath. So then, the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath. Mark chapter 3. And he entered into the synagogue again, and a man who had a withered hand was there, and they were watching him closely to see if he would heal him on the Sabbath, in order that they could accuse him. And he said to the man who had the withered hand, Come into the middle. And he said to them, Is it permitted on the Sabbath to do good or to do evil, to save life or to kill? But they were silent. And looking around at them with anger, grieved at the hardness of their hearts, he said to the man, Stretch out your hand. And he stretched it out, and his hand was restored. And the Pharisees went out immediately with the Herodians and began to conspire against him with regard to how they could destroy him. And Jesus went away with his disciples to the sea, and a great crowd from Galilee followed him, and from Judea, and from Jerusalem, and from Idumea, and from the other side of the Jordan, and around Tyre and Sidon, a great crowd came to him because they heard all that he was doing. And he told his disciples that a small boat should stand ready for him because of the crowd, so that they would not press upon him. For he had healed many, so that all those who were suffering from diseases pressed about him in order that they could touch him. And the unclean spirits, whenever they saw him, were falling down before him and crying out, saying, "You are the Son of God." And he warned them strictly that they should not make him known. And he went up on the mountain and summoned those whom he wanted, and they came to him. And he appointed 12, so that they would be with him, and so that he could send them out to preach and to have authority to expel demons. And he appointed the 12, and to Simon he gave the name Peter, James the son of Zebedee, and John the brother of James, and he gave to them the name Boanerges, that is, sons of thunder, and Andrew and Philip and Bartholomew, and Matthew and Thomas, and James the son of Alphaeus, and Thaddeus, and Simon the Zealot, and Judas Iscariot, who also betrayed him. And he went home, and the crowd gathered again, so that they were not even able to eat a meal. And when his family heard this, they went out to restrain him, for they were saying, "He has lost his mind." And the scribes who had come down from Jerusalem were saying, "He is possessed by Beelzebul, and by the ruler of demons he expels the demons." And he called them to himself, and was speaking to them in parables. "How can Satan expel Satan? And if a kingdom is divided against itself, that kingdom is not able to stand. And if a house is divided against itself, that house will not be able to stand. And if Satan has risen up against himself and is divided, he is not able to stand, but is at an end. But no one is able to enter the house of a strong man and plunder his property, unless he first ties up the strong man, and then he can thoroughly plunder his house. Truly I say to you that all the sins and blasphemies will be forgiven the sons of men, however much they blaspheme. But whoever blasphemes against the Holy Spirit does not have forgiveness forever, but is guilty of an eternal sin, because they were saying he has an unclean spirit. The wisdom literature reading is from Proverbs chapter 5, from verse 1 through verse 14. Proverbs 5:1. My child, be attentive to my wisdom, and to my understanding incline your ear, in order to keep prudence, and knowledge will guard your lips. For the lips of the strange woman will drip honey, and smoother than oil is her mouth, but her end is bitter as the wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death, her steps take hold of Sheol. She does not observe the path of life, her ways wander, and she does not know it. Now, O children, listen to me. Do not depart from the sayings of my mouth. Keep your paths far from her, and do not go near to the door of her house, lest you give your honor to the others and your years to the merciless, lest strangers take their fill of your strength, and your labors go to the house of a foreigner, and you groan at the end when your flesh and body are consumed, and say, How I hated discipline, and I despised reproof. And I did not listen to the voice of my teachers, and I did not incline my ear to my instructors. I was almost at utter ruin in the midst of the assembly and congregation. This concludes the reading for day 48. Thank you for listening. These daily readings are made possible by your generous support of the Global Outreach Ministry of Scott Purcell. To partner with us and enable this work and others like it, please visit huttobible.com/give and select Go Pastor Support from the fund list. You can also sign up for ministry updates at scott-purcell.epistle.org/subscribe. Both of those links can be found in the podcast description. Thank you for helping us share God's Word.